Welcome back to the Lanterne Rouge cycling podcast for the opening stage of the Tour de France Femmes, avec, Zwift, stage 1 from Rotterdam to The Hague, 123 kilometers long, absolutely pancake flat stage, although there is a category 4 climb, 2 meters altitude, all 2 meters of it, at the end of the Mas Delta tunnel, which is, probably some highway underpass, overpass as they come out of the tunnel, and there's an intermediate sprint at Groeneweg, which means Greenway. I know that because Groenewegen is the Greenway man, and that's with about 40 k's to go. You see the flat and you think, oh, it's in the north of Europe. That could be crosswinds. No, because it's so... The final 60 k's is all in a very built-up area in town in The Hague where... that's where people go for... like the courts of justice and things like that. What have you been up to though, Benji? And what news did we have before the race? Because we did do our preview quite a while ago. What was, the surprising news this week, or some jersey announcements?
Surprising news or some jersey announcements? Yes, indeed. First of all, Visma Leasebike came out with a new jersey, for example. A lot of teams came out with a new jersey, and with Visma Lab, it reminded me kind of Sam Michel Aubert, you know? It's like the yellow-orange type of jersey. So I thought, okay, looks pretty similar. A white finger around the chest. Then you've got his D-Works, and I was like, okay, this is also kind of orange-reddish. And then another team also brought out an orange-looking kit, and I was like, okay, if half this peloton is going to be orange, this is just the same problem that we have on the men's side of the peloton, where everything's dark blue. Yeah. A lot of jerseys looks the same.
It was crazy. It was like all the orange jerseys, I couldn't tell who was two, and also Jayco have an orange top half as well, which they already have had the whole season. But yeah, there's Human Powered Health have the Donald Duck EF Education one, I'm pretty sure. So they have when EF Education had their special Giro jersey, they had I don't know if it's the special raffle one. But anyway, moving on to, but I was looking at the peloton like what indeed was going on. But it was going to be a sprint. The big favorite was obviously Lorena Wiebes, but also there's Charlotte Kool here and Marianne Vos, and also Human Powered Health have a pretty big sprint train for silver medalist of last night, Daria Pikalik, and also UNOX have Arto Salo, who is a Finnish rider who they extended until the end of 2027, which goes to show you what they think of her level. But anyway, moving on to the start of the stage, Benji, crashes abound almost immediately.
Yeah, crashes about almost immediately. There were crashes. I don't know particularly which riders were all involved, but there were quite a few riders that already hit the deck. But I also felt like there were instant attacks as well. And that's the part I do want to focus on first, where we got breakaway attempts. Laboral Kucha was one of the most active teams when it comes to attacks in this race. So you've had Urani Blanco, for example, as the first attacker for their team. We had Tonetti later on in the race. Together with Laboral Kucha, the first attempt was AG Insurance and Canyon Schramm. So few riders trying to get in the breakaway. And that kind of got controlled by one of the sprint teams. So we've got DSM. And DSM, that includes Labou. And I was kind of surprised that Labou was being used at that point to close down breakaways. Is that not surprising to you in the first few minutes?
Yeah, especially as SD Works Pro Time are the big favourites for the stage. They've got the strongest overall, probably rouleur squad we have at the race with Blanka Varshenko. Labou's their GC leader. Kool is the second favourite, but it's a big second favourite. And also, the breakaway is just simply not winning on a flat stage like this. So, again, we rarely see on these stages an original day's breakaway make it to sort of even the last hour, frankly. Yeah. Like they just never go anywhere. I'm a little bit surprised. I don't know whether it's because of teams like DSM or SD Works smothering it too much, or whether it's because not enough teams jump. I don't really know the answer. Probably a bit of both.
And more attacks came. Arkea, Roland, I say Roland in a French way. Roland Gogias, the team. Then Liv Jaco, Kenin Tram, Age Insurance, FDG Suez, Labrador Kucha. And it's Bredewald now closing. So we've got both DSM and SD Works being very active in controlling the early attacks in this race. And there's one breakaway that really goes, like you mentioned, that eventually goes that still won't make it to the last hour, but still relevant. And that's Cristina Tonetti of Labrador Kucha that goes in the breakaway together with a rider from Roland that tries to bridge towards her. And that's where I think Labrador Kucha really made an objective out of going in the breakaway in this stage and trying to go for the QOM points, because we see Tonetti going in the break, Roland rider tries to bridge towards that, and Labrador marks the rider that tries to bridge towards Tonetti, therefore neutralizing that attack, basically keeping Tonetti on the road alone, which is great because then she has no competition if that group of her alone makes it to the QOM point. And to me, it's kind of surprising. First of all, Tonetti wins the QM jersey, and there's no QM points on tomorrow's morning sprint stage and the time trial in the afternoon. So she's going to be wearing this for at least 3 more stages until Wednesday. And it's surprising to me that a lot of teams didn't try hard enough, in my opinion, to go for those QM points. Because, sorry, but a team like Ceratizit, even Phoenix, Cofidis, I'd argue Human Powered Health as well. Yes, Pikulik is a solid sprinter, but you can have one rider try and go in these breakaways. Yeah, Jaco tried once, so maybe I'll give them some respect there, but maybe more than that, I would expect them to go for it. Saint-Michel Aubert, Lotto Destiny, UnoX, like, what's the point of these teams riding this stage outside of getting to the next stage if they don't have a sprinter that is good enough to potentially win, or they don't have a GC rider to protect, and they're not even going for the one QM point that can wear them a polka dot jersey for 2.5 stages, 3 stages.
It's really surprising. It's half the race almost. You can wear I mean, you see this.
Yeah.
Some teams target it. It happens in the men's race as well, that you have like Magnus Cort really targeted it in the Danish start, and it makes a lot of sense. Now, is it? It's actually not half the race. It's just for tomorrow because it's 2 stages. It keeps confusing me. I see stages 2 and 3, and I'm like, hold on.
The day after,
I knew we were on
stage
4. Yeah, and the day after. Where it's going to be another fight to get in the breakaway, one would think, in the hills of the Ardennes. But yeah, that was an interesting moment. Crashes in the peloton and also Tashkent. And if you don't know the story, Benji, maybe give us a quick run on the Tashkent story. They basically, Tashkent's an Uzbek team.
Yes.
They got the Tour de France Femmes spot on UCI points. They basically farmed a lot of very minor races. In fact, they put on some national events in Uzbekistan or wherever, which had UCI points, which actually got scrubbed off, I think. I think the UCI took away those points because it was literally like their team alone competing. It didn't meet the minimum standards of a UCI category race. But they're here on UCI points, but they're not the strongest team. They do actually have a good young rider who I mentioned in the preview, Janina Kuskova. She's actually good.
Yep. But she finished Giro. The rest of the team didn't.
Really, like on her own, just about.
Yeah, on her own. She was the only rider left over at the end of the Giro done, so credits to her. She's the climber of the team. And I read this article on, there's a guy on Twitter called Global Peloton. Definitely check out his last work on Tashkent, because he did like an interview with the team manager, etc., but also went in depth onto how they got at the Tour de France Femmes. They did it based on UCI points, based on farming smaller races. I don't know the full story about the which points they got from those local national events that only they really
still made it
in.
even with them being scrubbed out.
Exactly. So, but I don't hate on the team for being here. It's not their fault that there's a loophole, or is it a loophole that there's a way for a team like Tashkent, who is Uzbek, to get so many points from Uzbek national championships, for example, where they're going to score loads of points because they've got the best riders in that area. Then they go to the Asian Games, and then they go to all these like continental championships in said area, and they score a lot of points doing that. And yes, that matters. That brings them to that spot. That that ruins the chance for another team. We just saw Life Plus Wahoo folding because they, in the words that I saw in the articles, don't have the recognition of being at the Tour de France, etc. So other teams are missing out. I don't know if Life Plus Wahoo would have had that spot to begin with, but is that a problem with the UCI on how they plan the point system, or is that just the simple fact that there's limited teams that come from the Asian region, and as a consequence, the limited teams that come from there can farm those national races easier than a European team can farm European national things? But then again, European teams can farm French 1.1 races better than an Uzbek team.
Yes, but the European .1s are actually quite high-level races in the women's, generally speaking. Even the .2s, some of them are quite high level, higher than the men's races comparatively. So I don't really have a strong view on it either way, because it's like, oh, well, they're not, you can say, oh, if at the end of the first stage, 4 of the riders have abandoned or DNF'd because of crashes or being off the back. But it's like, well, if you want to take a long-term view to develop women's cycling in Central Asia or Eastern Europe, or not in the traditional regions, then you're going to have to at least give them allow access to the biggest race through merit, which they did through the complying with the sister point system. And maybe that means that next year they'll be better, and then the year after actually better. And so that being said,
but
there's so many teams here, I can't even think of a team that missed out.
Volker Wessels.
True. Volker Wessels are actually very good. Yeah.
I think there's a few that you could put your hand in the fire and say they would definitely have been better than Tashkent, who in the first 20 kilometers of today's race, riders of them are already dropping. 2 riders dropped 20 kilometers into the race, 1 other rider a bit later than that. 3 riders of Tashkent abandoned this first stage of the Tour de France Femmes in the first half of the stage with 80 kilometers to go. That's shit.
Yeah.
But it's the state of that team.
They can top 5 stages, Volker Wessels.
Yes. So it's a shame for the other teams, but it's how the system was built. So I can't blame on Tashkent for making it here. I can blame on the game, not the player.
And you can also, again, to play devil's advocate of the devil, rather, do we need another Dutch team with Dutch riders in the race, even though they are better and they would be able to top 5 or top 3 with their sprinters?
I hear Luke shouting through the mute button right now.
Anyway, that was the story of the sort of first half of the stage. The breakaway's caught. We go to the intermediate sprint with about 39 kilometers to go. It's a pretty straightforward sprint, and we're wondering, okay, this points classification, we said in the preview, it's between Marianne Vos and Wiebes, maybe Balsamo as well, depending on her shape. And we come to that intermediate sprint. It's flat, and then Visma on the right-hand side absolutely send it with Vos in the wheel. Marcus lets the wheel go of Vos to create separation, and it's actually Ruby Roseman Gannon who gets involved in that sprint, but Vos takes the maximum of 25 points. And just going to the who was third? Just checking who was third. Puk Pieterse.
Yes.
Por qué?
She went for the IS.
Why is she going for it?
I don't know. I was curious by it as well. I was thinking through this IS and I was like, okay, Wiebes is not going for it. So she's focusing all out on trying to win the stage and the yellow jersey on stage 1. Sure. That's one. Vos will obviously go for it because she needs these IS points to beat Wiebes if Wiebes wins the flat stages in this race. And then thirdly, who's competing for the S? Roseman Gannon, yes, understandable, because she's also a versatile sprinter, so she might not get it from just winning flat sprints, so she can maybe do the Matthews thing and get as close as possible by doing both as close as possible. And Puk Pieterse, before this race, we had no clue what to expect from this.
Yeah, I don't know what she's going to do.
She arrived at this race, never done a stage race. She arrived at stage 1, and I was like, okay, maybe she wins the white jersey. Maybe she just shows up and podiums this Tour de France Femmes. Maybe she can top 10 the Tour de France. Maybe she just goes and wins stage 4. But she's going for the intermediate sprint. It's like the last thing I would have anticipated. But her sprint was actually not bad.
But maybe she's thinking if they can make the Valkenburg-Liège stage hard enough and the other stages, maybe they make it too hard for Vos and she actually can go for the points jersey. But the problem is she's not really competitive in the full-on sprints. But yeah, it seemed the Visma lead out with Henderson and Van Empel got the jump on everybody else, and I was surprised not to see Vibers at least try to roll in third or fourth in the wheel, because, like, to be honest, it's not that much effort for her. Charlotte Cole also didn't contest it. So 25 bonies on for Marianne Vos. And we move towards the intermediate sprint. A few crashes, one by Amanda Spratt. Balsama has a mech at 14km to go. Comes back, no problem. And we see SD Works on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, UAE are also in a special jersey, like a white sort of multicolored jersey.
Yeah.
Just a lot of different jerseys. I was all the time, I was like, what's his name? The Scottish guy, Limmy, being like, who the fuck are you? I kept looking at like every front on us. So it's like a TDU figuring out all the new jerseys. Same in the men's race. It's like, anyway, SD Works look good, Benji.
PCS says it was Marte Trein and not Buck Petersen, which, if that's the case, that's even more confusing to me.
Nah, she's a mini sprinter, isn't she?
Yeah, but
she came 6th in the show.
What's she gonna do in all the sprints?
Have a crack.
Okay.
I mean,
stage then, to be honest, instead of getting third on the IS. I'm sorry, but then you can wear a jersey.
What? Yeah, I would have. But Schrempf was off the back for quite a while and is their sprinter, no? So it's strange. Phoenix to Koenig don't really have a pure sprinter here. But Troy, yeah, that makes more sense anyway. Going into the finish last 10Ks, we have Neve Fisher Black on the front for SD Works Pro Time and Demi Vollering. The two climbers are on the front keeping Vibers. I got a hot take, Benji.
Okay.
Neve Fisher Black and Demi Vollering helping do these lead outs for SD Works.
Yes.
Gave them too many riders, and they were left with too many left for the final 600 meters, and they would have been better off without one of them.
And arguably, you could go as far as saying maybe that's what led to the event that resulted in Wibbes having a mechanical in the final segment anyway. But we'll get to that eventually. First of all, there's crash in the peloton. I think Brown, Coles, Lister, Van Empel, Dijkner involved in a crash that happened on a bridge. No one seemed to be seriously injured, so that's okay. Riolini had a bike change just after that, so might have been involved with as well. I'm not sure about that. Breakaway gets caught, which was that Tonetti rider up the road as well. And then you already went over the intermediate sprints. There's another crash with 37k to go. Spratt crashes, but she looks okay. Bit of a mechanical for Balsamo. She eventually returns to the peloton. And to be honest, in the last 5 kilometers, after Fisher Black and Vollering were doing the controlling like you went through, it was kind of the sprint teams at the front. You know, SD Works on one side, you got Asia Insurance on the other, and DSM in the middle. And DSM kind of looked into a position where it could be a good position, but it could also get seriously blocked in. Because if one rider goes past you from another team and another on the other side, you're basically in the middle stuck. And it's also kind of a dangerous position to be in then if a crash happens. And I feel like the vital point was with 3 kilometers to go, there's a bend to the right. And that's kind of also what happens, where SD Works takes the long way around and shockingly comes out of the turn in first position, with Bredewald really doing the lead out at that point. And like you said, there's still loads of riders from SD Works in the wheel, so they've got the numbers to control this from 3k to go. But I was also looking for the other sprinters in the peloton. Who else was going to be competing? Obviously, Cole was going to be competing with Franziska Koch and also Pfeiffer there as well when it comes to positioning. Yeah. Picolik was trying to be positioned by Human Powered Health. What else did you see?
I didn't see Trek. I didn't see Little Trek, and that was all surprising. They got maybe the third favorite for the sprint, Elisa Balsamo, and I couldn't see Trek trying to move up at all, and they don't have, obviously, they just don't have a great train here. It's like, at all, they really couldn't help her at all when you look at where they all finish. There's no longer Borghini. Brand had to work early. Dijkner had crashed. Ellen Van Dijk's not in great shape. Van Anrooy's kind of going for her own GC. Spratt's a climber. Balsamo's kind of having to do it herself. Vos, I'm seeing much of the same. Vos is on the wheel of Vibers really early. And then around 2Ks to go, I think Hentala on EF.
Yep.
Yeah, EF Oatly Cannondale's Hentala, the second Finn, moves up and takes the wheel of Wiebes off Vos, and Vos then sort of never recovers from that position. And so DSM, maybe 2Ks to go, they get the jump on SD Works. SD Works change back quickly under the Flamme Rouge. It's Bredevold pulling with Francisco Koch finish. She flicks over to Pfeiffer Georgie, who's still got like 800 meters to go, and she just begins her lead out really, really early, moves on to the Uno X lead out and gets off Artasalo and sort of gets in the mix, which was really, really good work from Pfeiffer Georgie not to start immediately at 800. Then she goes with 640, and that causes SD Works to be a bit bent out of shape. They are behind. They get in between Cole and the last, I think Barbieri, for DSM Firmenich. And actually, Charlotte Cole's not in great position at all. She's like chopped off her lead outs, having to come around Blanka Vash. And at the same time, that's happening with maybe 400 to go. Wiebes, because Barbieri sprinted to the barriers and because Guarici followed her, Wiebes is trying to get into the draft of her lead-out riders, and she comes across and hits the front wheel or knee or elbow or something of Artasalo, the Finnish national champion on Uno X, and drops her chain or stuffs her gearing or something. Looking down, drops the wheel then completely. So she drops the wheel. Artasalo is now left in the draft. Cole has started sprinting already because she was sprinting to get around Vash, and so she kind of gets a run into the back wheel of Guarici, gets separation then because Vash gets in between her and like Vos and everybody else, and because no one's in Cole's wheel, she's the second best sprinter here anyway. She wins the stage in a huge upset, still a Dutch rider. Artasalo, I think, had mechanical problems too. I haven't got confirmation of it, but she just rode such a strange sprint that she looks down, then like seems to change gear and sprints and still comes second. And who came third? Balsamo comes third, being boxed in a little bit. The second Finn in the top four, Hentala fourth on EF Oatly. Vos fades at the end, fifth. Then Pikalik, De Zota, Pinar, Farlin, and Blanka Vash running out the top 10.
Thing is, like, in my personal opinion, if Wiebes doesn't have that mechanical, she's in a perfect position for the sprint, and she very likely wins the sprint. But you can only beat who's there. So Charlotte Cole destroyed everyone else after Wiebes had that mechanical. So you can do nothing else than respect what Charlotte Cole did here, winning the stage, winning the first yellow jersey in this race. And that brings DSM the first yellow jersey in both Tour de France's, men's and women's, with Bardet and Charlotte Cole. So pretty good from DSM in my personal opinion. And I'm curious what Labou can do in GC as well. Maybe a podium is possible after Longoborghini abandoned, or well, pre-abandoned. She didn't start the Tour de France Femmes, and we had multiple riders before this race that aren't necessarily starting, like Kadzau as well. So that gives the chances better for Labou. But talking about Cole herself, like we've kind of seen her evolution over the last 2 years, and I felt like she kind of had a moment of stagnation in the last, let's say, year maybe, where she had become the second best sprinter in the world. Let's say, when was that? 2023 UAE Tour? Is that fair to say? Where there she was beating Wiebes every single time when Wiebes made a small mistake, or when she had a slight disadvantage, where if Cole was in the draft of Wiebes and Wiebes had to launch early, then Cole would win that sprint. If it was perfect conditions for both, then Wiebes would beat Cole. So she was kind of the one sprinter that could beat Wiebes if Wiebes' preparation for that sprint or her sprint was slightly imperfect. Not a single other sprinter could do that. But I felt like after that UAE Tour, I feel like she had an injury last year at Balwaza Ladies Tour. Yes, maybe she DNS towards the last stages after winning 4 stages of that. Pretty crazy. But towards the end of the year, she started winning again at Simic Ladies Tour. But it's not like I don't know. I haven't felt that Wiebes versus Cole effect since that UAE Tour necessarily, despite also Wiebes being present at that Simic Ladies Tour. It's like, right now, Cole won that sprint, but that to me doesn't really change much outside of the fact that I still believe Charlotte Cole is the second best sprinter, and I still believe Lorena Wies is the best sprinter in the world. And she just had partially shit luck, partially she just rode into Otosalo's front wheel, so it's kind of have to blame herself a little bit.
Yeah.
How much of that can you blame yourself for if you accidentally hit someone's front wheel?
Well, she moved over too early, so that's her own fault. But yeah, Cole, as you say, this is her second win of the year, and her first win came in a 2.1 stage of Baloise, where she did beat Wiebes was there, but Wiebes came 8th. I haven't watched it. I assume something went wrong for Wiebes or whatever. But every other, like Wiebes has beaten her like 8 times the rest of the year. It has not been 50-50. Wiebes is really, like, Cole won a lot more last year, but she'll be happy after today, where she takes the biggest win of her career and the yellow jersey in her home country, the Netherlands, with DSM Firmenich PostNL, who brought on the Dutch Postal Service as a sponsor this year, as a co-title sponsor. They have won the opening stage of the men's Tour de France and now the women's Tour de France. Like, that's crazy. So I only just realized that now, where they won with Vrangenbroek and Bardet, and now they win with Charlotte Cole at the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift. So yeah, like, congrats to DSM. And it goes to show once again that there's so much value in having a sprinter. When Raoul did the article about the Tour de France and you saw like the top 20 point scorers, a lot of them were sprinters, because there's so many sprints. And also, say Wiebes is as dominant in sprints as Vollering is in GC, let's say.
Yeah.
She's still like more beatable because she can drop a chain, split second mistake, someone comes across her, it's a sprint, it's a high variance, high speed activity, and you know, you're the second best, you win. If Vollering drops her chain or someone makes her lose 2 wheels at the start of a 10k 8% climb, doesn't matter. So sprinters are very, very valuable, even when there is a dominant sprinter on in the race like Lorena Wiebes. And a huge win for Cole. And Artosalo, who, 2 fins in the top 4 is crazy, but she goes into the white jersey. So GC, Cole leading that, obviously, but Artosalo is the young rider. She eligible for the young riders jersey. I mean, she's a sprinter, so she won't carry it, but she gets to wear it tomorrow.
She's still 20, you know, like, it's crazy to think about that. Like, we've spoken about her for a while now. I swear she was on, wasn't she on UNOX already at the age of like 17 or just 18? It was really young, and she was already performing relatively well. I remember she met Banch maybe in 2 years ago, where she was doing really well, and obviously she's winning the Finnish national championships and so forth. But outside of Hentala, there's not too much competition there, to be honest. So that doesn't declare too much, but the rest of her results are just plain getting better and better over the years. And I wonder what that's gonna be once she gets to the age of 22, 23, because if she's now good enough to compete for podium places at the Tour de France Femmes, even with Wiebes here, she would still podium, like, she would still get third. So, like, that's strong and a sign of potentially a future top sprinter. Is that a solid take?
Yeah. Although I gotta say, her sprint results are they're not that great this year. This is her best result this year, apart from the win at the 1.1 Trofeo Martin Weinert. So I don't know. But she looked really good today, and I think, 20 years old, who knows where she'll be in 3 to 4 years. I wish Chiara Consoni was here. I feel like she actually, because, well, I say Chiara, because I was like, it's Kira, no? But she's Italian, not Irish. Cole, the difference in Cole and Wiebes is Cole can be beaten straight up by other sprinters. She's lost to Balsamo this year. She lost to Vos in Vuelta. Like, she can be beaten, even without a mistake. So Consoni, I know she had the Olympics and she did the Giro where she won a stage, but I feel like Consoni is actually the 3rd best sprinter. I think actually Consoni and Cole to me is a wash. I think Consoni is really, really good. Although in Ride London Classic, she was terrible. Don't know what happened there. Interesting to start with the sprint as always, Benji. Maybe wouldn't want another one tomorrow without the chance of cross wins. Points classification, Cole is on 50 points, Vos is on 41, Balsamo's on 20, and Wiebes is on a big 0. So 41 point delta for Vos off the bat. And then there's yeah, that's a huge
Honestly,
swing
it's
in the
secured.
points classic. You reckon?
Is that
go
hard to
far?
say? Wiebes gets 50 points at the next sprint stage. Let's hypothetically, and maybe she can get another like 40 whatever on that one slight hilly stage, which is kind of a leopard finish. Like, sorry, but if Vos can get intermediate sprints and get solid results on the other stage, which we would expect for her to get, it's not locked. Like, I'm exaggerating if I say it's secured, but it's like 70-30 right now in percent.
Yeah, it went from maybe 50-50 before the race, I would say, yeah, to 80-20, 85-15.
Yeah. Fair.
Like, Wiebes has to pull everything out. And also, more than that, probably, Benji, it's probably 100-0 because Wiebes doesn't care about it. She didn't go for the IS. So in reality, it is over because Wiebes, and tomorrow, after not winning this sprint, no way she's gonna be like, well, I'm gonna rest my legs to go make sure I win tomorrow in the sprint.
Maybe she dips out before the major mountain stage again, like last year.
Yeah, maybe. Which okay, stage 2 tomorrow, or stage 2A rather, is the Dordrecht to Rotterdam. We go through the built-up areas again, so don't get too excited about crosswinds. As Benji said, we're mostly below sea level here, so there is no QOM points. 69 kilometers long, absolutely pancake flat sprint in the city with a few right-hand 90-degree corners to finish. Thanks for coming. And then, yeah, there's not much to preview about the sprint, Benji, except I'll pick Wiebes. I think they'll get it right tomorrow. And if she doesn't drop a chain, she should win, frankly.
Yep. I will go with Wiebes as well. One more thing. A little update. 4 of the 7 riders of Tashkent did not finish today. So they lost more than 54% of their team today. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame. But yeah. What else for the sprint did I want to say? Oh yeah, Guarishi actually, what will get hidden by this result is Guarishi's lead out was like really, really, really good. So
perfect.
She gapped everybody else in that lead out. So if Wiebes was on a wheel, it would have been curtains. And then we have stage 2B, also known as stage 3, the individual time trial from Rotterdam to Rotterdam. It is, they go over a couple of little islands. Luke will have to tell me what these islands are. It's called Noordereiland. Noordereiland. Is that where you're... Do you know that, Luke? Anyway, it's a little bit technical given that it's 6 kilometers. They do have some right-hand turns and they're finishing on a narrow strip and there's road furniture, as we saw today, everywhere, but it's only 6 kilometers long. It should not decide GC whatsoever in this race, but a big stage win is up for grabs. Who do you like for it, Benji? Because it's not a prologue. It's a 6.5 minute effort, but it's not that long that Marcus has a really big advantage either over the powerhouses.
So... first bend is basically a U-turn around the roundabout. So around the roundabout, you can relatively ride in speed, I would say. Then the next corner is pretty tame as well. There's one serious corner, a few serious corners there. I'm sorry, but if Dijgert or Brown don't win this, then sorry, but they should be the favorites for me for this. And I'm going to go with Dijgert because I feel like this is less technical than the Olympics parkour.
Yeah, it shouldn't be raining. But I mean... I'm just looking at Grace Brown's prologues. I mean, she hasn't done one since 2017. All right, that's not very helpful.
In my head, the longer a time trial, the better for Brown. In my head,
yeah, that's what my feeling is as well. So like, but to be honest, she's like top 5 in every TT she ever does.
Facts.
So that's flat. All right, I'll go with Brown, but I would say Dijgert this is more likely for Dijgert to win than the Olympics in hindsight. So if Dijgert doesn't win this, then she's not in good shape at all, or Brown has an even better day than the Olympics, because like 6.5 minute effort after Dijgert's she's in 4-minute team pursuit shape. She's in like the shape from the Olympics for this event, and it's pancake flat. So really, really good for Dijgert. But what about GC, Benji? How much time is Riolini losing?
Oh, I'm gonna go with. I actually don't really know what to guesstimate here. Should I go to the extreme and say like 1 minute 26?
I was gonna say 1 minute. 1 minute would be crazy.
Imagine, like, you have to hope for like 30 seconds, right, max?
I mean, she's not that bad in the. Oh, she did a hilly TT in Brescia in the Giro. She lost a minute in 15 Ks. Now I'm going to say she's going to lose 35 seconds. She's going to lose 35 seconds. Still a lot. Still a lot. But
You're hoping for less than 30.
Yeah, if she loses less than 30, she should be happy. But interesting start to the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift, that's for sure. We'll see if Charlotte Kool can keep the jersey tomorrow. All she has to do is just what does she have to do, Benji? Take some bonus seconds in the first sprint, and then she wears the leader's jersey for the TT. And Charlotte Kool, she has a good prologue length TT on her too. She came third in the prologue in Belgium Tour, and I think she won it last year, although it was 2.4 Ks, so not that long. But she'll be trying to keep the yellow jersey, I believe, in the TT.
She'll try and win tomorrow again.
I think she keeps it. I think she keeps the jersey into stage 4 because she's not so bad over 6Ks that she's going to lose, let's say, 14 seconds to Dygat. Or am I overrating
Let's be clear. She's getting 10 seconds today, bonus on the majority of the pack outside of Autosolo and Balsamo. If she gets 1, 2, or 3, she gets 10, 6, or 4 bonus seconds.
Yeah.
That would go into the time trial with a 14 to 20 second lead. I'm guessing 14 to 16 seconds based on my Wibbers prediction for tomorrow. So
it'll be tight.
She should. I don't actually know if she does. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be an added level for the small time trial.
All right,
it's
so
not a prologue, eh?
Not a prologue, but it's prologue length.
Is it?
And it's under 10 Ks.
Yeah.
And so
I think 8 is the switch, right?
No idea. No idea. Alrighty.
It needs to be at the start, I think.
Luke says 8.2 is the limit. So
why? Why 8.2?
Because
who invented that?
It's over 5 miles. It is.
Might actually be. Jesus Christ.
It is over 5 miles, yeah. 5 miles, 8 Ks, no?
Or no.
You wouldn't know. Yeah, 5 miles, 8 Ks.
That's 1.66666666, right?
Oh, you gaslight me. It's 8 Ks. It's 8.04 Ks.
Close enough. I don't know where I got the 1.666 from. Make no sense.
Hope you enjoyed the podcast. I'm going to see Deadpool 3 this evening. Apparently, it's supposed to be pretty good. Yeah, I know. It's like the last two version original subtitulado Espanol sessions in Andorra. Popcorn here. How much is popcorn in the movies in England? I heard there's been a few disturbances. There's been a few disturbances in the UK, Benji, but I would like to hear the big news. How much is a medium popcorn and a medium drink?
Let's start the discussion in Belgium. So in Belgium, you pay 13 to 14 euros for your tickets to the cinema right now.
Fucking hell.
And in addition to that, you pay, I think, 5 to 7 pounds, euros for your popcorn.
Okay.
And that's without the drink, which is also probably 3 or 4 euros at the cinemas, which is insane.
They do a meal deal?
And then you go to the UK. What the fuck is a meal deal?
Well, the combo.
British,
you combine the drink and the popcorn.
Belgium doesn't have that, my friend, I think.
You've got a psychopath eating popcorn in the movies with no drink.
And in the UK, the tickets for the cinema are like 4.5 to 5 pounds. So significantly lower. And I think the popcorn prices are the same as in Belgium. So Belgium are the robbers. I'm sorry, but Belgium are the robbers.
What's your min wage per hour?
What is my minimum wage per hour?
No, in Belgium. 15 euros for a cinema ticket is expensive.
I said 13, my friend. Come on. Don't exaggerate.
Oh. Anyway, I remember, I was showing my age, but when I was at uni, I used to go to the movies on my own all the time, midweek. I watched every movie. And it was like €3, €2.80 a ticket back in the day.
And then COVID happened.
Mate, I was out of uni before COVID, I'll tell you that. I was working before COVID. But yeah, Andorra, it's cheap. It's €7 a ticket. And it's a nice cinema. So we're going to see that tonight because of the early finish today. So anyway.
But how much is the popcorn in Andorra? Because you asked me, but I didn't ask you.
So the tickets were $7.50 each, and the cinema's basically empty. And then oh Jesus, I'm gonna have to pretend to buy a ticket now to access the popcorn.
We'll figure it out.
I'm figuring it out right now. It's just loading. It's €9 for a duo, so that's probably what I'm going to run with Mrs. Rouge, which is 2 drinks and a large popcorn. €9. I think that's pretty solid. Because like you can't be sharing drinks. Luke says it's $7.90 for a big menu.
Why can you not share drinks?
What you get a large Pepsi and you share it with your misso.
I probably sometimes do.
we be scrapping. Well, you think me and Mrs. Rouge are going to agree that there's been an equitable distribution of the Pepsi? Whilst there's just no chance. So
you two will literally write up a contract for the Coca-Cola.
I've been married longer than you, Benji. Get separate drinks. It's easier. And also, I eat all the popcorn before the movie starts, and then Mrs. Rouge is like, "You gotta control yourself." So we do share popcorn, which, yeah, I've gotten better, but just not smashing into it.
But if you're okay with an inequitable distribution of the popcorn, why not about a drink?
Because I have a problem that I'm always thirsty. Like,
well, you're always hungry clearly as well, because the popcorn's empty and it's your.
I'm always hungry. Yeah, I'm on a calorie deficit back from holidays. Anyway, that was a long ramble about movies. Bring back cinema. I'm going full boomer. No QR code menus at restaurants. No streaming services. And go to the cinema in person. Eat your popcorn.
And a new season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Like, that show's been going for a while. Jesus,
it's done. It's like ended ages ago.
What do you mean new season?
More.
Oh, you want a new season?
Yeah.
Nah, the actor died.
Oh yeah, that's terrifying.
What's his name? Andre Broe?
Hold. I only know the character name. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he was my favorite character. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this recap of Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift Stage 1. We'll be back with the double header tomorrow. And we'll see who indeed wins both of those stages and who is in the leadership at the end of the day. Until then, ciao.